Hello, campers! On this edition of Tenacious Talk, Cindy Lou and I are chatting it up with travel guru Kelly Lewis, founder of Women's Travel Fest and Go Girl Guides, amongst, I don't know, about a gazillion other businesses. We're going places with you.
It is the reason I feel alive. Yeah, yeah. Being alive. It is the reason I feel alive. Yeah.
All right, guys. I'm Cindy Lane Ross,
I'm
and
Kelly Vapp. There you go.
we have guest with us, Kelly Lewis. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, how's it going?
So I actually had the fortune of going to Women's Travel Fest last year in New Orleans, and it was so much fun. It was kind of a spur of the moment thing that I took my vice president over. We drove over for the day, and I was so sad that I didn't get to stay the entire time. But it was so awesome, like, and inspiring, and traveling my whole entire life, it still inspired me. And you, Kelly, are the founder of Women's Travel Fest.
That's me. Yes, I am. Best
So-
thing I ever did.
Tell us a little bit about it. You guys just had it. What have
Yeah.
you been, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, well, it was early March, so 2 months ago we just wrapped, but we just wrapped our 5th year conference. So it rotates cities, so it goes back and forth between New York, which is my home base, to San Francisco, and then we did New Orleans, which I think is the show that you went to. And it's just so much fun. It's about 300 to 400 women usually. Our New York shows are always huge, who are just passionate about traveling. And so we bring together women who are experts in the industry, or women who've made, travel into a career, or women who are just veteran travelers. And they come on and they talk about everything from traveling with kids to, traveling as a lifestyle, traveling as a career. And it's just always really a lot of fun. And I'm just so glad that I decided to follow up on the idea and actually make it happen.
I love it. It was awesome. So, Kelly, where are you based out of?
New York.
New York. So, you born and raised?
No. Born in Tucson, raised in Hawaii, and I live in Brooklyn, in New York, in Williamsburg.
Very nice. Well, it's a great hub for travel.
Yeah. I mean, it's great for a lot of things, It's a great place to launch projects that are sort of mid-sized. It's a good place to connect with your community. It's exhausting, and I think I'm just about at the end of it, but it's been a good 6 years.
Well, when Kelly and I decided I have two Kellys, this is great, it's so confusing. When Kelly Vapp and I decided to launch this, you were actually on my mind first, just because you intrigued me so much. And I was telling Kelly Vapp, I'm like, you got to see this girl. Like, she has her hands in everything, and everything travel, which we love, right, Kelly Vapp?
We love traveling. Yep, we do. Everywhere. Hey, I got a question though for you, Kelly, the other Kelly. Of course. Hey, when you decide you want to go somewhere and you've never been there before, I know you have 6 books under your belt already that you've published. But when you want to go someplace that you've never been, how do you go about researching it ahead of time? And you've got New York City, London, Mexico, Argentina. There are a lot of places to go in this world. And I'm sure a lot of people will go to Go Girl guidebooks for those specific cities. But what do you do when you want to go to a new place? How do you research that?
Well, first I look at the flights that are the cheapest, and that usually determines where the new place is. And then I just kind of start piecing it together. I think Facebook is a really great community. There's lots of like Girls Love Travel, which I'm a member of. Haley Woods,
Girls Love Travel.
Yeah, totally. Haley Woods, who's spoken at Women's Travel Fest, I believe in its second or third year, is a friend of mine. And I mean, that's a wonderful community. And there's lots of great Facebook communities where you can just search like Beirut, and all the things of suggestions people have been saying about Beirut come up. Social media these days makes it so easy to do things. So guidebooks as an industry I think are kind of moving on the outs, which is why when I first started GoGirl Guides, which was 8 years ago, we were publishing printed guidebooks. We did Thailand was our first book, then we did Mexico, then
Small.
Argentina.
They're super small.
They're I wish I could show you.
I have one, but
Yeah.
I got it from the New Orleans show, and I was telling Kelly about it. I'm like, it's so cool because you can just throw it in your backpack and it's just tiny.
Yeah, totally. So the first ones were like regular sized, and then as we grew on, we started doing smaller versions. So we did the 50 Essentials, which is our favorite products book, and that was really fun to put together because we asked like 100 women in the travel industry, like, what are the things that you always travel with? And based on their suggestions, we put together this fun little book. But now it seems like all of our books going forward are starting in ebook format, just because, I mean, the costing of printing is extraordinary, you know, and it's an evolving industry. So I'm the one thing that has stayed consistent in everything that I've done is that I do it for women, and I do it to empower and inspire women to travel.
And I noticed that you suggested that women read these books and the guides way before they set their itinerary, that it was something they shouldn't be doing although they can do it on the plane as a refresher, really they need to be doing it ahead of time, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think to have the best kind of travel experience, you have to at least have a sort of round idea of what you're going for. So like, you know, when I went to Cuba, for example, for my 30th, I knew that I wanted a guide. I knew that I wanted to go to this really cool club, which was also a cave in Trinidad.
I missed that one.
Yeah, and I knew that I wanted to go to the beaches of Varadero. So I sort of based my whole trip around the things that I wanted to do. And I've definitely had trips before where you just kind of wing it, and that can be really fun too. Or it can result in you like feeling like you're wasting your time walking around, not knowing where you're going, not knowing what you're doing, you know? And I don't like feeling like I'm wasting my time, especially when I'm there to have fun.
Kelly, what did you think about Cuba?
I loved Cuba, but I loved Cuba because of the guide that we had. Like, had I tried to do Cuba on my own, I don't know that it would have been the same experience, which is interesting, right? Because when I first started in traveling, there's almost like a sort of like a shame that came from using a travel tour guide, you know, it's using someone on the ground. But now I see it's such an easy way to experience a place on a deeper level, you know? So I think our guidebooks are a great start. I consider them tools in a toolkit. But I think also there's no shame in hiring someone to show you the best places and to tell you what you need to know and to give you a sense of the culture a little bit better. Like, my time in Cuba would have been frustrating and surface level at best if I tried to do it on my own.
You know, I would say, so we actually did a FAM at Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
and we were on this, it was Celestial Cruise Lines. And we're not big cruisers, but it was a cool way we stopped in 4 ports of Cuba, and we'd always wanted to go to Cuba. And it was great because they had these guides every single day. And, you got to go out like on these excursions, but I feel like if we would have had someone outside of the cruise that could have taken us around and we got a little bit more into the culture, because I feel like I was surface. Like I just saw a bunch of touristy places, a lot of angry people, and I came back feeling probably the most unfulfilled from a trip that I've ever felt before, and it was one of my most exciting trips to go on. So I totally get that. I think the guides are great, especially a place that you've never been, and there's so much culture to absorb.
Mm-hmm. Totally. I mean, totally. And everyone at the end of the day has a different reason for what they're hoping to gain in their travels. Like, sometimes you just want to unplug and lay on the beach, and that's cool. There's millions of places in the world to do that. Sometimes you really want to get out there and like shake up your daily routine in a big way. And sometimes you need a guide to do that and to be able to like walk away thinking like, I understand a little bit more about where I went.
Oh yeah, I agree. So it's funny, I think it was the 50 Essentials from the Girl Go Guide.
Mm-hmm.
You guys were giving away in New Orleans, right? So last Christmas, I think I got like 10 of the items. Like one of my friends bought me like 10 of the items from there. Some of them I had to question. I was like, okay, but they're really cool. And you know, like you would never know about it. And I think we actually did post about it on Stash Your Bag for like throughout probably 50 different posts on the items. So I think they're good. I mean, I think print is, you know, going away more and more every day, but I think it's a good start. I think it's a great tool.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And I think like Women's Travel Fest was a natural extension of doing Go Girl guides, which were the guidebooks. Because when I was on tour, when I moved to New York from Arizona, I did this big cross-country book tour, and I was talking to women about traveling, and they were like picking my brain for hours. They wanted to talk about travel and where to go and what to do. And I was like really feeding off of that energy. So that's what made me want to do it in a bigger way. And then with the success of Women's Travel Fest, the next step of that was, hey, well, why don't we take this on the road and sort of do kind of like workshop style sessions like we do at Women's Travel Fest and take it traveling. So that's how we started Damesley.
You still have that going? Is that still going?
Yeah, that's still going, yeah. So Damesley's next tour is this session called Writing and Writing, which is basically a creative writing workshop combining horseback riding through the Rocky Mountains. It's June 22nd through the 25th.
Explain what Damesley is exactly.
So Damesley is a women's tour company that's based on experiential travel and learning-based workshops. So we combine tours, like really awesome tours that we cultivate ourselves. So we're not white labeling our trips. So basically, so in Denver, for example, we have a leader that we fly in that teaches a workshop on creative writing. And then you're there and you're practicing and you're working on what you're working on, and you have us as a team of women to kind of shoot ideas to. So it's equal parts cool opportunities to see things, because then we go horseback riding in the Rocky Mountains, we go whitewater rafting. It's really fun. It's a great way to see Denver, but it's also, you know, you're focusing on your projects and you've got a sounding board you can kind of resonate with. So we're really excited about Damesley. It's been awesome. One of our most popular tours, Damesley's 2 now, just turned 2. One of our most popular tours is this trip called Cameras and Canyons, which is
I want to do that one.
Yeah, which is so fun, which is in September this year, September 7th to the 10th, which is a photography workshop that goes through the Grand Canyon, Antelope Canyon, and Horseshoe Bend. So again, we totally cultivate these tours ourselves. So we pick you up at the airport, we create the itinerary, we drive throughout the 3 days. And in those 3 locations, you're shooting with someone who's teaching you about settings and different light and how to process your photos afterwards. And it's awesome. So you end up like seeing really amazing things, but then you also end up knowing how to use your camera better, which is great. Cause like I have a DSLR that just sits around most of the time, cause you know, it's too hard for me to figure out.
That's so true. I remember seeing that last year, and I was like, I so want to go to that. And I ended up doing a writing retreat up in Manzanita, Oregon. Have you ever been there?
No, but that's awesome.
It's so beautiful. Like it's probably one of my favorite places in the States that I've been. Well,
and what's cool, see, and this is like, so I'm hoping that you're getting what I'm throwing down, and that everything that I do kind of feeds into itself. So like now that Damesley's up and running, right? My most recent project is this company called Romery, which started as a passion project. Yep. So I started just collecting, because I used to work at Buffalo Exchange way back in the day as a buyer. And I just started collecting things that I thought were really beautiful and really unique from different countries. And then I was like, this is crazy. I have a whole, you know, collection worth of curated items. I should put this into something. And so I launched Romery. So now Romery in September is going to have a buying trip to Morocco via Damesley. So I'm taking women to go and shop the souks that I love, you know, and introduce them to the merchants that we're working with. And like, I'm super excited about that too, because it's shopping and it's travel. So it's like, everything's kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good. I mean, like, that's what Kelly and I talk about. Like, I always have my hands in so many, but they all kind of always go back into each other. So I think it's so cool. Romery's great. Well, okay. So you got to tell us about Unearth.
Yeah, so Unearth, I'm really excited about too. So this is a cool thing that's recent to me. So like, whereas before I'm always like, I start this, I'm like starting all these things. Now I'm at this place where like people who have ideas that are really awesome are coming to me to see if I want to get involved, which is great because it means it's like, yes, I do want to get involved, but I also like, I don't have to be the only one keeping the lights on.
Yes.
So that's a really cool new development in entrepreneurship for me. Unearth is a new magazine, a new travel magazine written by women for women. It's a quarterly publication, and it's turning into essentially a women's media company in the travel space. So I'm really excited about that. I mean, the first issue, we're coming out swinging. Like the first issue, Gloria Steinem herself, the original boss lady, is contributing an article. So
That's fantastic.
We're incredibly excited about that, and we're telling some really amazing stories. Like, we're featuring the stories of the Black Mamas in Kruger National Park, who are basically an all-female anti-poaching unit, fighting to save the black rhinos, which is incredible. And we've got stories of an all-female motorcycle gang in India. Like, just like it's really cool, and I'm really excited about it.
So I went on the website and I saw all the founders, and there's like four of you guys. Yeah. How did you all meet?
Through Women's Travel Fest.
Very cool.
So Nikki Vargas is really the spearheader of this project, and she is an incredible woman. I've known her through Women's Travel Fest. She's spoken a couple of times, but she also used to be the travel editor at Culture Trip. And last year's Women's Travel Fest, she spoke on a panel along with Kailani Kennedy, who is now with USA Today, 10 Best. So they were talking about sexism in travel, and that kind of spurred a greater conversation, which led to Unearth. So it's all coming together. It's very exciting, but it's definitely still in its infancy. So I'm excited to see the first issue, which would be in September.
Kelly, can you tell us about some of the women that you've met along the way through your travels, some of the brazen women, because I see that, that term has been used. I'm like, okay, tell us about some of these women.
So it's really funny that you use the word brazen because that's a word I've been kicking around in my head for this other project that I have planned for the foreseeable future, that it would be more video based, which is not my element, which is why I haven't done it yet. But yes, I mean, I met so many amazing women. I know this woman who's like one of maybe like 2 or 3 female sake brewers in Japan, because it's such a male dominated industry. And you don't really think about that, like how sake can be such a male thing, but she was the only girl born into her family, and that's the only reason that she came into that position, and so that's really cool to me. And there's this woman that's pretty well known now in northern Thailand named Lek, who started the Elephant Nature Park. She basically like spearheaded the anti-logging industry and kind of dismantled using elephants as tools for the logging trade, and has created all these elephant sanctuaries around Thailand now, one in the north, one in the south. She's amazing. I mean,
so your project will be a video-based project on these women?
Yeah, so Brazen, which was the working title, is potentially going to be like a part travel show, part not documentary, but like a part travel show that introduces these women doing these amazing things that affect change in their communities and in the world. But it's not even like I feel like I can't even put claims on that yet because it hasn't even grown legs. It's still very much an idea, but
yet another project that you're gonna do.
Another project. I know it's on. I mean, honestly, like my boyfriend is like, every time you take a shower, you come up with a business idea.
Isn't that great? I love that.
It's great, but then it's also like, oh, okay.
My husband's usually like, do not start another business. Do not start another business.
Totally. I'm like, but I think this could be really cool. And he's like, okay, why don't you just focus on what you're working on?
Oh, I think it'd be an amazing project.
Where'd you get your necklace?
In the Amazon.
It's so pretty. Yeah, I love it. I bet you have a great jewelry collection.
Oh yeah, it's my thing. Like, I have some really awesome pieces. And then it was like, mostly people would be like, oh, where'd you get that necklace? I'm like, oh, the Amazon. Where'd you get that bracelet? Oh, Greece. And then I was like, why don't I do more with this?
Yeah, really.
Because there's there are definitely, like, people have been buying and selling things from different countries for centuries, but like there's definitely something to be said about having a specific eye for quality. You know what I mean?
Look, this, I saw it online when I was searching you out, but the quality of this,
So beautiful.
it's so good. It
I'm
is
so
like,
glad that it went to you.
yeah, I absolutely love it. And the stone is so pretty.
I know.
I
Yep.
thought you picked that out personally for her, right?
Yeah,
Well,
that's it.
I picked it out, put it on the site, and she personally chose it. So that makes
Oh,
me very happy.
gotcha.
It's
Hey,
so
let me
cool.
ask you this too. What is in your travels, like culturally, have you just been blown away by something you never expected and you just went, wow, I had no idea? Do you have one of those moments?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I have those moments all the time. I will share with you, I had a really like powerful experience this last year. So last year I took on a lot of traveling. It was like 8 months, pretty much nonstop. And it was like hardcore places. Like I was in Sri Lanka, I was in India, I was in Bhutan, I was in Tibet, like I was in Nepal. I mean, they're not like very easy places to travel to, you know? And I ended up starting the trip because I wanted to go to the Himalayas and ending the trip knowing that I went because I needed to kind of do some like personal work on myself and sort of, you know, heal some things, which I didn't realize at the time. And I really had this profound experience. In Bhutan, I got food poisoning for about the 17th time, but I got food poisoning and then I had to hike up to Tiger's Nest. And Tiger's Nest is that like really iconic monastery. It's cut into this cliffside in Bhutan. It's kind of what everyone thinks of when they think of Bhutan. So you have to go. And I woke up in the middle of the night just so sick. And I was like, how am I going to get up in 3 hours and hike this mountain? It's a 6-hour hike. It's really intense. And I made myself do it anyway, even though my guide was like, I really don't think that you should, because I was I like couldn't drink water. I mean, I had to stop every 5 feet and like double over because I had horrible stomach cramps and just like, it was bad. But I forced myself to do it for some reason. When I got to the top, I sat in this temple and my guide was sitting next to me and he was like, I feel like you've got some like stuff you got to work out. And I was like, I guess I do. And then I was just sitting there by myself for a few minutes and I heard this voice, and it's like sounds so woo-woo to say, right? But I really did. I heard this voice and it said, we already love you. Now you just have to love yourself. And I was like, so I literally sat there like crying, like, and my guide came up to me and he said, you know, life is like a bottle of water. And he was like, the outside of the bottle is dirty, but the inside is clean. So we have to do as much work on ourselves as we can in this life so that the outside becomes as clean as the inside. And I literally sat there and was like,
I'm almost crying hearing that.
I know, and I cried all the way down the mountain. And that was like really profound. I mean, Bhutan was a very profound trip just because I was learning so much about Buddhism and, you know, the way we look at each other and the way that we should treat each other. And it was just really powerful. And I was like one of those girls that, you know, always dated jerks, and people would be like, what's wrong with you? You do so much and you've got all these things going on, but you always date these losers. And like, I think I just had to like do some work on myself. And then now I'm dating a really wonderful person. So I'm very happy about that.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
And that is what travel is all about. I think, you know, it's about opening yourself up to new experiences, but just what the world has to offer. If you can soak it up, and you're doing that not only in your daily life, you know, doing what you're doing, but then you're going out and really looking for it and experiencing it.
Yeah. And the thing is, sometimes we don't know what traveling is going to give us. Like, I didn't know if that round of travels was going to lead to a book or a guidebook, or if it was just going to be, you know, me traveling just to travel, or if I was going to meet someone on the road. I had no idea what that was going to do for me. But now looking back, I realized that I needed that time to like kind of lick my wounds, like get over some stuff that had happened when I was young that I never thought about, and get better. And now I feel like, now I don't feel this crazy anxiousness, that like this need to go places. You know what I mean? Like I used to feel like I had to go places. Now I feel much more content to just be where I am, and if a trip comes up, awesome, and if not, awesome. Like I'm just, I don't know. It gave me a whole nother perspective that I hadn't thought about.
Where are you going on your next trip, if and when you take one?
Yeah, well, it'll be mostly Damesley trips through summer. So Colorado in June, and then early September will be Arizona, which is where my family is in Tucson. But I'm going to do northern Arizona with cameras and canyons, and then Morocco. And then I don't know, my boyfriend lives in LA, so we've been going back and forth. But I'm just kind of focused like on all of these things, It's like it's so many things, and I feel like I don't ever have enough time to devote myself to each and every project the way that I want to. So,
Kelly, do you find it hard with so many things for balance, like for your personal stuff, like your personal growth, like what you experience in Bhutan?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm kind of the person that's like, go, 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 just do it and figure it out later. I mean, there's a million ways to start a business, and there's a million ways to succeed in a business. And I think I wasn't trained in business. I was trained in journalism, So I've learned a lot along the way, but I definitely feel like there's never enough time and there's never enough money, but that's life. So,
I mean, it's funny because Kelly, it sounds pretty familiar conversation, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's what we all go through, right? And
yeah,
so,
exactly. And I was in India last year, and I had, not to that extent at all, but just that I just knew I needed some work, but I didn't know where. Like if you don't know there's a problem, you can't fix it, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And it hits you out of nowhere. And so I think as women, hang on one second, guys. I think as women, especially entrepreneurs, we run so hard trying to prove ourselves, and we have this successful persona over here, but somehow along the way we lost working on our personal side.
Totally.
And I'm so guilty of it. Relationships have suffered, and friendships, and life, yeah. And I get it.
It's hard. It's hard because there's this myth of wanting to do it all, be it all, but like that's total crap. We all know that that's not reality,
That's true.
So I think, and like there's a lot of things that I want to do that now that I have the time, like now that I'm based in one place that has free Wi-Fi consistently, that I want to do. Like I used to write poetry. I used to compete in slam poetry. I used to represent cities at nationals, and like I haven't written a poem in years.
Yeah.
It's like, why shouldn't I submit some of those things to journals just for fun, just to
sure.
see if it sticks?
It's not even about the money,
It's not about the money at all. Yeah.
That's exactly why we started Tenacious Talk, and it wasn't about the money. It wasn't about if we ever get anything from it. It doesn't matter. For me, I think it's going to be more my therapy. I met a great friend through my travels, and we have a lot in common. So we decided to start something and see where it takes us, just have fun with it.
And if nothing else, you get to know other people who are doing cool things or, trying to make their own place. And that's awesome too. And that was the biggest gift from Women's Travel Fest for me, is like, I get to meet all of these women who I look up to professionally. Yes. But then I also get to meet hundreds of women who like come up to me in tears and like, and are so thankful for having a place to meet their people. And that's why it continues, even though it's a huge project for me. It takes me like 6 months each year,
Are you going to do it again this year?
I'm going to have to, because it's too good for the community. Yeah. Like yeah. I can't stop. I feel like it's not even about me, and it's always broken even. It's not the money, but it's never really like made me enough money to warrant giving it 6 months of my life. But it's too important for the community. So now I'm kind of thinking like, okay, well, if the community wants it, then they can help to build it. So I'm going to put together like a little.
You need a board. A team.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's too much to do it all on my own. And that's what I'm realizing in everything is like, that's what I love about Unearth is I'm not alone in that. Like there's 3 other powerhouse women doing their own thing. And like, I feel really strongly about the places and areas that I've put people like for example, GoGirl Guide's Instagram account. That's not something that I want to spend time or energy on. So someone is paid to do it. She does a wonderful job. She happens to be a good friend of mine, and she kills it and she slays it. And it's like, and it makes me excited because I get to look at it every day, not knowing what's going to be up there, you know? And it's just like, you just gotta hire on people who are going to do the things that you aren't good at.
And you need to spend more time doing the things you love. I mean, that's what I've been this year, is just like restructuring all my businesses to get back to being able to travel right and things that I love to do. And I mean, that's what, Kelly Vapp and I, we've been really kind of focusing, especially I would say this week, probably more than any week in the year so far, has been just about self-growth and restructuring and trying to find the balance.
Yeah, and doing things that feels good, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like roamery feels good to me. It's easy. For me, It's the one thing that I feel like I'm doing that is not reinventing the book. It's buying and selling things. It's finding things I love and sharing them with people that I love. It's so easy. It's fun for me, you know?
What I think is so cool about it is that you're bringing a piece of the world back to people that aren't able to travel or go see those awesome places. And I don't know, Kelly Vapp, I don't know if you've been following Kelly Lewis on her social media, but I love the fact, and I followed you all throughout Tibet. And I mean, like every place that you went, I'm always following you. But I love just how transparent you are. I mean, and it takes, gosh, you know, like that's something I'm really working on, because I've always had so much pride that I don't think that I'm as transparent as I need to be sometimes. And I love the fact that you are.
Yeah, it's hard, but I do feel like I came to a point where I was like, I'm just gonna, I don't know. It wasn't like a conscious choice. You know what I mean? I started realizing that the more vulnerable I could be on stage, you know, at Women's Travel Fest, or like in online, or as a person with my friends, like the better the reaction, because people are invested in you, you know, they're invested in,
and they want the real.
Yeah, they want the real, and they want to see you kick ass. And I think that's what's so great about my friends. I mean, is that they're just super freaking supportive. And they just, and I love that, and I'm very thankful for that, and I try to give it in return. So
you have created an amazing community. And I love it. And I'm so glad that you're going to do Women's Travel Fest again. Kelly Vapp and I are definitely on board. And I was so sad that I didn't get to come this year because we were traveling, but it's one thing that I want to put on my calendar every year. I just think it's empowering. And I'm not one of those women that need the, I don't know, maybe I am one of the women that need like the rah, rah, rah. But I always thought of myself as being more the leader, me doing the rah, rah, rah to everybody else. But I think it's just a really cool atmosphere with a lot of like-minded, very strong women, and I think it's really cool. But you definitely have to create a board. Yeah,
I mean, I can't stop it. It's just gonna keep going.
We were messaging, Kelly. We were messaging back and forth, talking about travel, and I think we were talking about the Morocco trip as well. And she was like, "No, this is it. This is the last show. I'm done with it." And so it's good to hear.
Yeah, I know. I say that every year, and everyone reminds me, you say this every year. I'm like, ugh. But
Hey, Kelly,
at some point, you have to stop.
before you take off, because I kind of feel like you probably have a zillion things to do today, and we're keeping you from a few of those. But I have a fun little game I want to play, because I want you to be so totally transparent with us. Okay?
Yeah.
Promise?
Of course, always.
Okay. It's called the Fast Three. So
okay.
It's easy. All right. Favorite breakfast food as a child?
Peanut butter, waffles, and pancakes.
Are you still eating those?
Yeah.
All right. Your favorite location in your travels to eat breakfast?
New Zealand. Not necessarily for breakfast, just because I love it. It's just feels like home to me. I don't know.
And you lived there for a while, right?
I lived there for a year, yeah, and I would give anything to live there again.
Yeah.
I cried when they put me on that plane. I cried so hard. They sent me a bottle of wine. I was crying so hard.
I love New Zealand too. I'm with you. Okay, last but not least, we both, well, Cindy more so than I, like to read.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like to read?
Yeah, I love to read.
Yeah, so what are you reading right now?
I just finished The Lost Daughters, which was very, very good. I don't remember who writes it. Joy something. It was wonderful. I read it on the plane in like 5 hours. I mean, I was flying to LA, and by the time I landed, I was telling my boyfriend, I'm like, okay, so there's a good cop and then there's a dirty cop, and there's all these women who are missing. He was like, okay.
Hey, so hang on. I want to ask you something. You did a post right before Travel Fest about one of the speakers, A House in the Sky.
Mm-hmm.
So I downloaded it immediately and I started reading it. And I'm not done with it. I mean, I read when I can. But was her speech just amazing?
Amazing. Amazing. I knew she was going to be. I didn't expect to cry as much as I did because I did read her book and I knew the story already. But I mean, everyone was crying. I looked around, everyone was crying, everyone was hugging. And she's such a wonderful and gracious speaker. And, she stuck around and she signed books for every single person who was there. And it was really amazing.
Yeah, I think she's amazing.
She was incredible. I mean, and that's the cool thing about Women's Travel Fest that I really love is that it's not always necessarily like travel bloggers. You know what I mean? Like Amanda Lindhound is not a travel blogger. She's an author. She was a journalist before that. And a couple of years ago, we had Mickey Agarwal who started Thinks. So, I try to think out of the box when I'm inviting speakers, like who can talk on this subject and who has something that's different to talk about. And that's really exciting.
So cool. Well, you inspired me to read the book. And Kelly Bapp, you are going to become a reader.
Yeah, I know. Can I be just a listener? I like audiobooks.
Yeah, you can use Audible.
Yeah.
Hey, so a book that I'm reading right now, and I really, it's funny because it just kind of popped out when I was kind of searching some self-care books. And it's funny because I don't know, I'm always this motivator, and I'm self-cleaning right now. And so it popped out, and I'm listening to it on Audible, but it's Girl, Go Wash Your Face. Do you know it?
Interesting. No, never heard of it.
It's good. Yeah. It's really, really good. Rachel Hollis is the author. So I'm already on chapter, I started it yesterday and I'm on chapter 13 out of 25. So it's pretty fast read.
That's great.
Listen.
I also just finished up Elizabeth Gilbert's Big Magic, which was really, really good. And it talks about this idea of how, when you get an idea for a business or whatever that really lights you up, and how, it's basically thinking about how ideas are constantly rotating in the universe and they're just looking for a source to bring them to fruition, right? So if you let that go, that inspiration go, then it just moves on to someone else who ends up doing it, which is a really great way of thinking about things.
That's really cool. I love book recommendations. I have a whole list. I love it. Hey, Kelly Lewis, let all of our viewers know how to get in touch with you.
Sure, yeah. You can always send me an email. My email is gokellylewis@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram, which is also gokellylewis, and then you can find all the links to all the projects that I'm working on currently there. I am around. I am probably one of the most reachable people I know.
Awesome.
My phone does not turn off.
We really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks
you,
Kelly.
For being our first
This
guest.
was so much fun. I love this.
Well, we hope to have you on again, and I really would love to hear more about Unearth as you guys get going with that project and all your other endeavors. So
absolutely, I'll send you my first copy.
I will.
Hey, when is the creative writing project?
June 22nd through the 25th.
And the photography is in September.
Photography is September 7th through the 10th. Yeah.
And how do people sign up for those?
Damesley.com.
Okay.
DAMESLY, which was a fun name, which came to me kind of like poof, because we were looking for a word that was a play on damsel and dame. So, yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Kelly.
Well, thank you, ladies. This was fun. Okay, bye.
See ya.
Hi.
It was fun. Hi.
That was so fun. She is just awesome, isn't she?
She is adorable.
I told you were going to love her.
I do love her. Yeah, that was very
fun. So cheers. Mine's a little watered down now, but
mine too. Salute.
Kelly Lewis's favorite drink is Tito's and soda. So we thought that we would do it. Don't you have the Tito's bottle there, Kelly?
I do.
Yes. Cheers, Kelly Lewis. We wish you the best of luck, and I think you're just awesome.
I thought she was awesome as well.
Awesome.
Absolutely cool. Yeah, what a great interview too. Just a lot of fun information. Boy, is she a tiger. She's got lots of stuff. How old is she? She looks like she's...
Well, she did say that she was on that trip for her 30th, so she's in her 30s for sure.
Wow, isn't that amazing?
But she's just adorable. I
Mhm.
think she is awesome, and she's gonna keep doing amazing things. She's already done amazing things, but I
Yeah.
can't wait to take you to the Women's Travel Fest next year, and I'm excited. Every year is in a different location, so it'll be
Yeah. We got to put it on our calendar.
yeah. So yeah, everyone, we will make sure to put all this information out on our social media, and we really appreciate everyone interacting with us as well. Everybody's been great on all of our social media posts.
Absolutely.
And yeah, if you have any ideas, let us know what you want to talk about. We'd be happy to talk about whatever. We're very transparent these days.
That's right. And we're lining up some musical guests.
Yeah.
I've gotten in contact with a friend of mine, and one, I believe it's either America's Got Talent or he was American Idol. One of the two, I can't remember. We're going to figure it out, and we'll let you know for sure.
Yeah, and L-Dub, which his music is our intro and outro, I got to see him play again, and he's been playing a lot around our area, but he's actually heading out. I think he's got like 12 days left before he heads out, 12, 15 days before he heads overseas, and he's doing like a 22-day tour in, I think like Eastern Europe. So super excited for him, and I know he's going to do awesome.
Hey, I was going to ask you, have you been watching American Idol?
No, I need to catch up with it though. Has it been awesome?
They have some amazing talent on there this year. I haven't been watching The Voice. I usually watch The Voice, but somehow I got switched over to American Idol this year. Yeah. In fact, I think this is they've got 1 or 2 more weeks left before they pick the American Idol, but really amazing talent.
Well, I'll start streaming it on my Hulu.
On your Hulu?
On my Hulu.
There you go.
Yeah,
I mean, I've never been a big fan, but they've just got, Katy Perry and Lionel Richie and Luke Bryan. He's always fun to look at.
Cool.
So, but they're doing a really great job with the talent. So something to check out.
I'll check it.
It's almost over now.
It's what the season. Well, I'll just start like season. What is the season? Is it like they're? I don't know. I know since they got rid of like the old people, did they start over? I guess probably, maybe.
I don't know how it works. I'm telling you, I've never watched it before, so this is the first for me.
Fresh from the season with episode 1.
All right, yeah, it's kind of like on a rainy day. You can just, I think on our network, on our dish or whatever we have, you can rewind. They do like a primetime DVR.
Yeah.
You can start from the very beginning. I think they're catching on with this Netflix thing, Everybody, hey, so what's your favorite Netflix show?
I like Ozark on Netflix.
Have you watched it since the beginning?
Yeah, I've been watching it since the beginning. And something that I love so much on Hulu, and I was so sad when I finished it. It kept me running every day. I love to run on the treadmill and watch and stream on Hulu, but This Is Us, and it's a really great show. And man, it's been a little bit of therapy for me as well. And I don't think I'm the only one, because I said that to a friend, and she said it has healed a lot of people, because
wow.
it makes you look at things and be like, for instance, I mean, I've had so many issues like accepting some things from my childhood and my father, and one of the segments on there, she just said something about, he never wanted to disappoint her, and he gave her the best that he knew how. And that's exactly what my dad did. And I just thought it was really cool, because I'm at a really good place in my life with my father.
You and I talked how absolute polar opposites our childhoods really were.
Yep.
And we've talked about being really transparent. Like I had the perfect ideal childhood. No, nothing, zero. Jimmy Fishbaugh and I played in the backyard every day after school. We went to school together. He was my best friend. We ran track meets. We had, forts up in the trees. It was the perfect childhood.
You had like the Friday Night Lights type of childhood.
Yeah, and we could, yeah, exactly. We played Fox and Hound in the neighborhood until the street lights came on, and then we better be home. That exact thing. Yours was a little more dramatic, I would say, than mine.
I would say that.
Yeah, and so you've been working through that, and it's the growth that you're going through right now. is just exponential. It
I'm
seems,
40 and I am just now seeing myself for the first time.
and it's just amazing. And I get to be a part of that, which is really interesting. I don't want to say it's exciting because I don't know how you
what?
feel about it, but
It kind of is exciting though, because, I'm only 40 and I have a chance to start all over again.
yeah.
You
And
know,
go forward with
And-
your life in a great way.
I've only scratched the surface of what I can be.
Haven't we all? I
Yeah.
mean, aren't we all in that same position?
Yeah.
And I've had kids, I've raised children. So I pretty much, I wouldn't say I put my career on hold, but I didn't go after a career like full tilt, like a lot of other women have. I decided to stay at home, stay with the boys. We lived in small town America. You, on the other hand, have gone full bore, just drive hard. And you're even finding things out about what drives you.
And what Kelly Lewis was saying about, she didn't know that she needed that. I think things happen for a reason. And, it was a good wake-up call for me. It was a good wake-up call, and it was a good wake-up call for me to just change the way that I look at things and really, not work so much over here on the successful Cindy, but really work on the personal Cindy. So I'm excited. I am going to be reading so much and cooking more and just taking some more time just to do some self-care.
Good. I'm glad. Well, you
And
look
I'll
great.
share it right here.
As always. I mean, I'm here. I'm in Nebraska. We said we were going to do this. We're going to
did it.
figure out how to make this work, and we've done it. So here we are making it happen.
Cheers, babe.
Cheers, babe. Love ya.
Love you.
Yeah. And so what's coming up next for us?
So, I actually have someone in mind for our next show that I'm going to share with you probably during this week, but she's definitely a new little inspiration for me. And I think that our audience will love her.
Well,
So,
and I have our musical guest coming
I'm
up.
digging the Fast 3 too. I really like it.
I'm sorry?
I love the Fast 3. That was great.
Well, yeah, that's pretty fun. I mean, we got to get to know people on a
I
little
love
deeper level. Okay, so what's your favorite breakfast food as from your childhood?
You're going to laugh.
I am going to laugh.
Baby oatmeal with cinnamon sugar. I know.
Did it come in something other than a bottle or like in a box?
Like the kind that's like little flakes, like in a box, and it's like baby oatmeal. Yeah, I know. It was a little weird. I ate that for a long time.
Wow. Oof.
I know.
Do you
I
still eat it?
don't eat it now.
You do?
No.
Oh my.
No.
Okay, just checking. All right. Well, I was into Count Chocula and all the sugary cereals, but yeah, I don't eat that anymore.
Yeah, I know. Don't eat that. It's eggs
I'm
and spinach.
You know me, I'm a meat eater. I had ribs for breakfast.
You know what I've been eating, Kelly, since you left? The carton of egg whites and the mix of kale and cabbage. I love it.
Isn't that
Every
awesome?
single day. Love it.
Yeah, that's my favorite. A little coconut aminos on there.
Yeah,
And don't forget your coconut aminos.
I like it.
I left them there for you.
I know.
So
Thank you.
yeah, that bag of superfood kale and broccoli.
I love it.
Yeah, with egg white on top. It's the
so
bomb.
Good. It's so
Yeah.
good.
All right.
So you guys know how to get in touch with us, all of our social media outlets. And then you can also, if you want to email us, Cindy at tenacioustalk.com or Kelly with an IE at tenacioustalk.com. We'd love to hear from you and let us know how you're loving our podcast.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, hey, we appreciate you guys listening to us, and
Love you.
we'll see you next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
It is the reason I feel alive.